Good morning to all the students. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So today we go on chapter 4. Yeah? Chapter 4 we have two parts. This is part. Let's go for learning objective. Learning objective is to explain nature of decision making, describe communication process, explain motivation process, then the quality. So today will be on the first two one. On the decision making and communication. The next part 2 will be the other two parts. Yeah. This will be the detail of the chapter. So here we're talking about environment in a business entity. Yeah. So it composed of forces or institutions surrounding the organization. So that will affect performance of the operation itself and the resources that we have in the operation. So all these factors will affect the environment inside the organization. So a person, organization faced with decision has rather straightforward tasks at hand. Yeah? So you need to make decision. Without decision, nothing can go. But to do decision, there are factors. The environment that is surrounding your organization before you can make decision. The decision maker must select a course of action. The course of action, that is the decision lah. Decision tu, we call it course of action. From a set of potential alternatives. Yeah, I said very simple lah. If I say I want to send a document to an office, government office in Jalan Duta, Kuala Lumpur, but we understand the environment is no good because in KL, they said there's a big crowd, people demonstration. So now I have to make the decision to ask my driver or my office boy to go to Kuala Lumpur to Jalan Duta. Which road? Is it normal, the highway KL to Kuala Lumpur? Or I have to go, ask them to go through the KLIA, International Airport Way to Shah Alam there? Or we have another alternative route now, Lekas Highway. But these two highway is much further distant than the direct KL Kuala Lumpur North-South Highway. But then the situation in Kuala Lumpur, if I go the normal highway, my office boy may stuck down there because there may be roadblock here and there. Even it may take longer. Even by the end of the day, they may not reach the government department in Jalan Duta. So that's where I have to see all the environment, keadaan semasa, before I need to make a decision to ask my office boy which road to follow to Kuala Lumpur so that I think he can arrive in time before the office close. Same thing lah. Yeah. So there's one type of decision. There's so many decisions you have to make, but then you have to evaluate the environment internally and also externally. Yeah. So that is briefly on decision making. So the definition, the process through which managers identify and resolve problem and capitalize the opportunity. Like my situation is now, how I'm to resolve to send the new document by today to in Jalan Duta, Kuala Lumpur. And I have to find out which are the best alternative. So that means the best alternative, best opportunity, which road my staff have to follow so that I can get delivered the thing on time. Two types of decision making is structured, program decision structured, a repetitive decision that can be handled by routine approach, rules and regulation. So this is some that I say, I said, give an example, the rules of the traffic light rules. When you reach the traffic light, when you see red, you have to stop. This is structured rules and regulation already. So you have to decide based on the rules. You cannot simply go through it. Well, you can go, but then you get fined or be jailed because you're breaking the rule. So the rules and regulation is already structured. It's already there. It's already approved by the parliament, already in the act, we have to follow. So all these kind of rules, we call it program decision with structured rule. You have to decide, but just follow the rules and regulation that is already there. Then we have another one, we call it non-program decision. This is a unique, unusual, or exceptional problem. It is unstructured and requires higher level management. This is some sort like we need the CEO, the chief executive of the company, to make the decision, to implement what is the problem, unique that problem that you're facing. Example here, we have good example here. The government decision to prevent COVID-19 by stop all travelling outside the country. This is not in the rules and regulation of our country. Just because of this COVID-19 happen, or any other things happen, there is immediate decision made by the government through the government officers to instruct this kind of regulation need to be followed. This one is not structured rules and regulation. This is ongoing every day. So we have two types of decision to make. One is just follow the rules. The other one depend on the situation. What is situation? Situation here, what I mean is also got many meaning. Situation here we mean problems. Yeah. So when I say situation, it mean problem. Other type of situation, when other sentences, it mean other meaning. But when here, when we say we have situation here, that means we have problem here. Yeah? So we can use the word problem, we can use the word situation. Yeah? Just for you to understand another type of meaning of problem, we call it situation. Yeah? Okay, we have types of condition under decision making. So we have the one condition under certainty. So here very simple example. You want to invest your money 1,000 in a bank. The bank said you keep it 1 year, I give you 5% interest, that is $50. That condition is there already, certain. So you don't need to think actually. You want to invest with 1,000 ringgit, there's a condition state by the bank, they will give you 5% every year. So no issue, straightforward. It's like the rules and regulation is already mentioned down there. You can't argue anymore. Then we have the second one, condition under risk. Refer of future conditions that are not always known in advance. Some information is available, but it's not enough to answer all questions about the outcome. Example, what is the result of your exam for the subject MG208? So can you predict? You can't predict. So these are the condition risks that you can't know in advance what is going to you have your result for your exam. Then we have condition under uncertainty. Situation in which the individual cannot even assign probabilities. You can't make own agak-agak or whatever thing you think of. To each of the possible state of nature and assumption is made, the individual has no information or intuitive in judgment. Intuitive here, for you student have not understand, is your sixth sense, we call it, the sixth sense. What is sixth sense? You have your five senses, your eye, your ears, your hand, your nose, your mouth. That is the five senses. Sixth sense is, they say, at the back of your mind. Or they call it intuitive. So intuitive, how it develop? Develop through your experience. The more experience you have, the better intuitive judgment you can have. That's why sometimes we need to employ experienced people working, because they have a very good sixth sense or intuitive judgment. That's what we call it intuitive now, for you to understand. No point I say intuitive, you don't understand what is intuitive at all. So example, if I don't put an effort to study, I will not get to a good result. So you don't study, you don't expect to get a 100% mark in your exam. So if more than 2% will be considered group decision to make. So group decision making is becoming more common as organizations focus on improving customer service and push decision making to all over levels. So the next one now, 4.2. Next point, is now decision. Second point now, we call it communication. Yeah. So we'll go through the communication. Communication is a process of sending and receiving messages through verbal, non-verbal, including speech, writing, oral, all kind of things. Yeah, we'll go on detail on that one. You can read this one, but I give the explanation. So definition of communication, we have a lot of few definition that we pick up from all the experts. So, and then we show you how the communication process. That means start from people talking. When you talk, noise. So when you talk, you come with noise. So it goes through the medium. Yeah? If you talk to somebody else to telephone, the medium should be telephone lah. So the other fellow down there will be the receiver, the other end of the telephone. Then what is the message? Yeah? And then go back to the sender and message. So that roughly, we'll go in detail and explain what is sender. Okay, what is sender? Anyone who wants to convey or seek information, idea or concept to another person. In an organization, the sender can be the manager, the subordinate, customer, suppliers, or anybody lah. They want to pass message from one party to another in a company, in a business, we call it organization lah. So that person, we call it sender. Who's the receiver? The person on the other side who receive whatever the information that you want, that the person want to give. So straightforward lah, sender, receiver. Message, an idea, concept, information formulated by the sender to be sent to receiver. Example, a message may be spoken in words or written. So you can telephone the other party down there and send the message what you want to do. Or you can email it. Or now you can even WhatsApp it. So that is what you call it, message. So in communication, you must have the sender, then must be a receiver, must be a message, and then the medium or channel to carry the message. It can be, now it can be telephone, it can be through email, it can through post, or through the social media. So these are the 4 things that you need to have part of the communication process. Then we have the encoding, decoding. Now you don't see much of this sort of thing, but in the past, what is encoding and decoding? Before the invent of fax, before that we call it telex. Telex is more on code. So because you have to send short message only. Telex, or we call it in the telephone, telegram lah. Telegram or telex. Business we call it telex. The telephone we send it through telegram. Last time if someone passed away, some of your relative died, so you just go to the telephone company, telecom, you want to send a message, so they send it telegram, they call it. But business, we have our own telex machine, so we send it through the telex machine. So this telex machine, you can only send code and encoding. They don't receive a message like here now you can easily get through fax or email. These are those days. Maybe you can imagine or not, but difficult. If I said, because if you don't come across, my age, I've come across this telex and telegram. I think easy to understand. So normally, like in telegram or telex, they send short messages. So they call it coding, encoding. And then the other party you receive that, they will start decoding it to explain it, to put in writing what is the message. And then they give it to the receiver. The receiver won't understand what is the message, the codes. So they will translate the decoding it, and then you convert into sentences, and then they send it to the receiver. Feedback. It is a receiver response or reaction to send a message. This means upon receiving message, receiver will have to respond by giving some action. So when somebody receive, so you have to respond lah, yes or no or whatever thing. So these are the meaning. Then we have one item here we call it noise. What is noise? Disturbances that interferes or become a barrier to message reaching the receiver. I give you an example lah. Sometimes now easier now to understand if you using the WhatsApp application. You use telephone through, you call through the internet connection. Sometimes you didn't get a clear message. So this clear message, distorted message, we call it barriers or noise in the communication. In previously, a lot of this problem. For example, even in telex, they have these disturbances. Sometimes the words that send does not come the other side. Yeah? So all this we call it noise. Noise. So you say again, here noise mean for different purposes, but you can use noise for other meaning also. So here noise mean message along the line when you pass the message, the disturbances lah, we call it the disturbances, the distort message or the message not clear, so we call it noise lah. Yeah. So we must understand in this communication what noise is meaning. So if we ask you noise, you don't talking about, oh, next door make noise. This is not that noise. Yeah. So be careful when you answer the question, or even multi-purpose question. They may ask you what is noise. Then they may say that the noise come from next door. Then that's not right lah. Communication means noise, the disturbances during the communication time. Okay, 4.2, formal and informal organization communication. Okay, biasa normally vertical communication system. Okay, vertical mean and horizontal. We have two lah. Very simple this one, vertical and horizontal. Vertical mean from the chief executive officer to the manager to the supervisor to the workers down the line, we call it vertical. Horizontal, from one manager to another manager, from one supervisor to another supervisor. So they call it lateral. Yeah, or horizontal. Sorry, horizontal is upwards and downwards. Vertical from top to down. Lateral, horizontal on the same level. So same level mean manager to manager, supervisor to supervisor. If manager to supervisor, still vertical, not horizontal. From supervisor to workers, that is still vertical. But workers to workers, horizontal or lateral. Understand how communication, what type of communication happens in the organization. One is vertical, one is horizontal. Not difficult to understand, but you need to know. Yeah? Informal communication channels. Here we have another kind of channels of communication, we call it grapevines. Kabar angin. In Melayu say kabar angin. Kabar-kabar angin. The message passed among the members are likely to be inaccurate. Tidak tepat lah. Or some we call it even slander, fitnah also can be part of the inaccurate or grapevine story. Also distorted. Some they distort also, they putar belit. Malay say putar belit. The information say one thing, they add on or minus the information. So they call it distorted or putar belit. There are 4 types of these grapevine chains which managers should know lah. So as a manager or as a person in the organization, you should know so that you get the correct information. You don't use the grapevine information to make decision. Then it's very bad for the company because you made a wrong decision because you got a wrong information. So be careful on this grapevines information. So while they have a single strand information passed along the chain from one person to other, gossip, one person telling to many people, single strand, dia bisik-bisik lah kita cakap, one person to another. Gossip chain, one person come to a coffee table, start to talk gossip other people to everybody on the table. That one is called gossip chain lah. Probability chain, passing information and random message. This one, they pass not to one, but sometimes to this person, sometimes to the other person. So they call it probability chain. Cluster chain, one person passing information to a group of people. This one, in a meeting, in a seminar, so they can even pass all this grapevine. But they may be said, okay, I'm not sure, but still he passed the message. So they call it still grapevine, but to a cluster change. Okay, single strand, I already explained to you now. This is how lah. Gossip, I already explained how it's all about down there. You can read how we distribute, like in chart. Probability, individuals. Okay, now we have another point, probability. Individual may have some information that may not be interesting but useful to some other people. Okay, he will not only relate the information to individual groups that need to know and will benefit from the news. The other people who get the news may well others at random and may not convey it to other people. Information is mildly interesting but significant. So this type of information is true, but then they may not pass to the right person. So suppose if the information goes to the right person and he take action, then you got the right decision making. But they pass information to people are not supposed to understand what the information, because he just talk to everybody, which are not the person who make decision. So this kind of information is no use. So this type of combination is wasting time. So don't go type this probability kind of information, communication. Because if you didn't go to the right person, the good information you have gone to the waste. Buang masa saja. So this is another probability communication that you have to look into in the organization. So this is some chart of random probability random basis. You don't go direct. You suppose go tell the information from supervisor direct to the manager to tell the information. But he talk to the supervisor, talk to another supervisor. What the supervisor can do? Or go and talk to a worker. What the worker can do? So it's wasting time. Yeah. So after that, we see how the chart here, looking to the cluster, selective and most common. It's all haywire lah. It doesn't go to the right person. Like you shooting an arrow lah, doesn't go to the point there. It goes outside the mark. So not going to get anything. You're not going to get any prize because you didn't hit the bow and arrow to the correct point. So all this kind of information communication you need to be understand, so that you don't wasting time and it's not going to be profit for the organization. So that's for the cluster. Okay, we go to the next topic, barriers to effective communication. So communication is not going to be effective on reason we're going to discuss below. Some people say in this world, the roots of all the problem of this world is miscommunication. Good example, they even go to war on miscommunication. The American have the communication said that Iraq producing chemical weapon. The Iraqi said no, they don't produce. But the spy inside the American said that yes, there is a nuclear weapon or what kind of weapons, dangerous weapon the Iraq produce. So because of this information, the communication released to the President Bush, the stupid Bush, go and attack Iraq and they have bloody wars. Until today, they can even find a single thing of nuclear or any kinds of these hazardous chemical weapon in Iraq. So this is a very good example of miscommunication happening all over the world. In business, in government, things happen. Yeah. So here, what is the barriers to effective communication? To make the communication effective, so that don't go to miscommunication. The roots of problem in the world is said 90% because of miscommunication. That's what they say in the internet, which I think there's some truth lah. Maybe you come across all sorts of things. Family also have miscommunication, they quarrel. They kill each other also because of miscommunication. Or whatever reason lah. But there's some communication which they didn't got that rightly, that they fight and kill each other. Okay, number one is poor listening. People spend a lot of time communicating with one another, and yet many individuals are poor listeners. This includes manager himself and employees. And sometimes also husband and wife, so same thing. The wife keep talking. The husband keep not listening. He's watching TV, maybe. So this is what's happening. Poor listening among husband and wife also happening among your mothers and fathers. You go back and check your mother and father whether they're good listener or poor listening. Maybe you can tell me later. So same thing like in the business, in the organization. Sometimes the lower staff give information to the manager, but the manager, which are poor listener, don't really pay attention. Maybe he thought, these lower level people bullshitting or he much clever than these people, they don't listen. This poor listen mean don't listen. Doesn't mean he doesn't listen. He listen. People listen, but they don't take it seriously what the information they give. And that's what we call it poor listening. Bukan he's a deaf, he don't hear. No, it's not that what poor listening. They're pekak, they don't hear. They listen, but they don't take serious what the information that communicate with them. So they call it poor listening. So this happening. This happening. The lower people had told the manager, there's a problem on the line. There's something need to be repaired. Manager poor listening, don't care first lah, you run first lah. For him, not a big thing. Suddenly, because of the small thing, there's a major breakdown. It costs more to the factory, it costs more loss to the company because of production cannot be resumed or kind of things. Number two, semantic problems. The usage of words can be barrier to effective communication. Semantic is the various meaning people attach to words. Certain words may be interpreted differently by different people because of individual past experience, educational background, attitudes, and perception. So lots of things, sometimes the word mean different to other people because of what's happening. Even in a Malay word, in Malaysia means different, in Indonesia means different. Yeah, some word in Indonesia is okay, but you mean here bad words. So this happening, we call it semantic word. So this again, the problem of words that you use must be very careful. Make it simple and straightforward so that people can understand, and not because of the word it links to their previous experience, they may feel bad or kind of thing. So this is very difficult situation, but you need to be careful because we don't know people background, we don't know people history. So some word you said may affect his own bad experience in the past, and then the communication that you want to tell him, they don't want to listen or they don't want to hear because of thinking of the bad experience they have in the past. This we call it semantic problem, also happening in the business communication. Filtering. So it refers to an alteration of information to make it interesting, positive, and acceptable to receiver. Sometimes you want to talk to our boss. They are very busy. If not, this is not a boss. If boss means he's busy. So whatever information you want to talk to the boss, go straight to the point, we call it. Filter all the unnecessary information that you want to send, you want to tell him. Because he's not interested to listen and he is so busy to listen. So you just filter, you just give the main point of what important for him to understand and to make decision. So you yourself have to filter information. Don't tell the whole donkey story, then come to the things that you want to tell him, because you have no no time to listen to the donkey story because you have so much work to do. So you need to filter the information to talk to your next boss or kind of thing, next people who your manager, for you to explain so that he can understand easily and make decision fast. So if you don't filter, you start talking all kind of thing, he may not even, and he will be confused. He may even giving you the wrong decision. So it's no good for you, no good for the company, no good for the business. 4, credibility of the sender. This means how trustworthy the sender, the source of the message. If the sender is known to be trustworthy, the information will get to receiver clearly. Whereas if the sender is low credibility, the receiver may ignore information conveyed to him. There's sometimes inside the family also, very simple we give inside family. You know that your father or mother likes one of your sibling, adik-beradik yang dia suka. So you want to ask the mother and father, normally you will ask yang anak yang dia suka tu, which is his think that more credible, to give the message to the mother and father. You get it immediately, he will approve it. But you give one of your brothers and sisters which are rascal, never want to listen to the mother and father advice. You ask him to go tell the mother or father certain thing, I'm sure he's not going to get approve it. So same thing that you want to ask your mother and mother to approve it, but you give two different party to send it, one the children, the child that he trusts more, and the other one he don't trust more or rascal, you don't get the same answer. Same thing lah in the organization, same thing. Which is the boss trusted staff? So you must know and must use that weaknesses the boss have to get your team come across lah. So the credibility of the sender is important to tell the boss. Even the things that I propose is very good, but the credibility of the staff with the boss is not, does not trust. He don't even bother to listen, even bother to consider. So in business, this communication, other than filtering, credibility of the sender also very important. So all these things you have to learn in business. You can see a lot in the picture, film, movie, how people manipulating using the right people to see the right bosses at the right time and the right situation, they get things done. So you need to learn about this. Even to the government. We met the chief minister yesterday. I think the first time I sent my proposal, I talked to him, immediately he responded. But I've been talking my proposal to many party, but I told him to tell the chief minister, I didn't get any information. So maybe I sent the wrong person to talk to the chief minister. But since I met him and told him, he made me a little bit trust me, immediately he respond, yes, you interested to look into this project. These are, again, credibility. Whereas the same thing, I ask somebody to tell him or propose him, never come back to me. I myself experienced the same thing. Not long ago, even last few days, happened. So that is business. Emotionally is associated with a person feeling love, anger, hate, jealousy. Example, a person who is angry, mood because of family problem, may look and sound angry when he's conveying information. The receiver who receives the message may also get upset because he may feel sender angry. If you want to pass some message to the bosses, make sure the guy is sober lah, SOBR lah, stable lah. He's in an angry mood kind of thing. He talk to the boss angrily, the boss also get angry, you don't get anything done. So emotional is very important. So sometimes people use women to talk to the bosses, to use them. Because maybe women are emotionally much better than men sometimes. So it happens. So in business, if not, why they use a nice, beautiful secretary to move around, to go there and here, pay a lot of money. Public relation officer, what a job? Nothing much, just because of a nice face and they go and talk to here and there and get things done. So this is also emotional, also part and parcel of business. You like or not, that's it. You don't believe, it's up to you. But this is happening in the real world. Noise relates to any factor that interferes, confuse and disturb the message from receiving the receiver and the way intended. Maybe good example as I told you just now. I have had a good proposal, but the person who talked to the chief minister, maybe the noise interfere in between, or he don't understand much of my project. He didn't explain properly to the chief minister. I didn't get nothing respond from the chief minister. But when I talked to him, I used less than 5 minutes to talk to him. Immediately he said, yes, we're interested to look. Can you give me this thing? We look into it. So noise means the message you have to send to somebody in between. Is there distorted story, distorted information? We call it noise lah. Doesn't get to the right info to the right person. You also don't get your thing. Same good example. Same proposal. I ask somebody to go and talk to the chief minister, doesn't get back any. But I talk myself because there's no noise in between, straight, clear voice. I get his agreement less than 10 minutes. So how fast I can do it, whereas it's been months. People trying to do it for me, doesn't get it done. Because the noise in between. Okay, that's what we call it, noise lah. Inconsistent verbal and non-verbal communication. A person conveying information is always said to be effective when he speaks. But message conveyed is strangely influenced by non-verbal actions such as body movement gesture. That's why I said they employ nice, pretty people sometimes to convey message, because the way he talk, nice voice, nice personality, sometimes it make things easier. It's happened in the real world. Once happened to me, one of my lawyer, young lady. I said, how you get this thing done in the court today? Oh, he said, I was using a very I was dressing a nice red kabaya. From far away, the judge already saw me. So when I applied, he immediately give. I may believe, you might not believe, but it's happening everywhere. I say, are you sure this because of your red kabaya you get it done? But I believe not really, he get it done for me lah. Yeah? So sure enough, maybe if we go down there with a sloppy dress, everything in the court, the judge will agree to him, he may even grant his application. Maybe also. So important. Yeah? The communication, the verbal mean cara cakap lah. Non-verbal, body communication lah. Yeah? Cara you pakai, cara you cakap, that is non-verbal communication. If you pandai bercakap, plus you have a non-verbal communication punya appearance, that's where thing get thing done. And people pay millions of dollars, pay high salary to this type of people to get thing done. Yeah, it's no joke. You don't believe it. In the life in the future, you will know what I'm going to tell you. Yeah, and you need to be part and parcel of this game if you want to success in your business. Because we are talking about business success here. Cross-cultural diversity, ethnocentrism, the tendency to consider one's culture and values as being superior to others. Culture cliff may arise between people from different geographical ethnic within one country as well as between people from different national culture. This is a good example. I was watching recently Dirty Money in the television, Netflix, maybe you see. How this Wells Fargo bank in America, they use all kind of cross-cultural people in the bank so that he can reach, so that they can reach all the types of people to do business. And they are one of the biggest successful bank in America today, because people working in the bank, they have the Europeans, they have the Mexican, they have the blacks, they have all the Indians, whatever, Chinese down there, so they can reach everybody. So because of that, they are the biggest bank in America today. So cross-cultural diversity is so important in your organization if you want to tackle all the kind of business. So this is also another consideration you need to do in your business organization. That's the environment lah. You should call it environment lah. Yeah. 9, trust and credibility. Without trust and the communicating process, concentrate the energies and defensive tactic rather than on conveying the understanding meaning. Yeah. So yes, the credibility of your people, the staff, is very important. If you employ a staff, you have none to have court case, you have non-competent in court to do things for you. I don't think so. Maybe they can do much in your organization. So very important. That's why when we interview people, we have to check their background. Even we have to ask in their future, in the past, where they are working, and how is the record down there before we even take them. And in my case, I even do the police checking. We send to the police, see any criminal, whatever, because we don't know them. So the police happily will give you the answer. Yes, they have some criminal or no criminality, because this is part and parcel of the police job to give us the information. So you're not to worry. If you're not sure about your credibility of your staff, you can send to the police to do the vetting. Ask them to do the checking. Yeah? They will tell you whether these people involved in criminal or not criminal. Basic thing lah. But not on the private matter, they don't tell. They're more looking to the criminality of the subject of the people that is working with you. Because if the guy is a very bad guy, used to cheat everywhere, they start cheating you, then they have to go, then when they cheat you, you go back and report to the police will got headache, more work to do. So it's better the police, you don't take them, then you also don't have problem in the future to handle this kind of things. So it's a win-win situation within the police and the private sector. Information overload. Individual can experience information overload when they are asked to handle too much information at one time. This information overload is a very interesting thing. So if you ask one staff to do so many things, suddenly you ask him to go and see another thing, he may do different thing. I give you one nice story lah. This real story myself. It's okay lah, a little bit long. 70 minutes already, it's alright. I have a very busy business that time, young time, 30 years old. So I got one business partner lah, or my staff. So at night we have a dinner with one guy from Australia to do furniture in my factory. So he's talking to produce high quality coffin. You know coffin? We put the dead people down there. We all die, not to worry. Yeah. Produce high grade coffin and export to Europe. He's been doing that in Australia, but now he said, why not we do it here and export to Europe? It's a good idea because you do it from the timber, polish it nice. The Christian will buy nice coffin for the dead people. Not for the Muslim, because Muslim we just bury it in the ground. Nothing much down there. So, uh, I so manage thing, and he has so much of things helping me. So I have another things the next day at 12 o'clock. I call him, brother, can you go to the lawyer and sign the agreement for our company? I'm very busy. I cannot go. He also to the phone say, okay, no problem. He also busy doing so many things. He goes straight to the lawyer to sign the agreement. So after signing agreement, in short, he came back to see me in the evening for coffee. Okay, say how's the agreement you signed with the lawyer? I said done, very good. Yeah, done. It's all ready. Yes, it's all ready. You just go and sign on my behalf. I didn't go. So what did the lawyer ask you? He said the lawyer didn't ask anything, but I talked to him about so many things. Oh, what did you talk to him? So he said I told the lawyer we are going to do this agreement to export coffee to Europe. The lawyer was quiet, not listening to me. So I told him we discussed this and with the Australian partner, all kind of thing, we want to export to this coffee to Europe, kind of thing. The lawyer said, keep quiet, never say anything. So what happened? After 15 minutes, he kept quiet, he said, please sign the agreement. Then I just signed and go out, and I'm coming with you. Then I laughed from head to toe. Because the agreement is signed, nothing with the coffee. It's another agreement I prepared. I didn't go down there. I asked him to sign on my behalf. This is what they call here, what they call it, information overload. Too much thing you will give to your staff, to your people to do it, and you don't explain properly, he may talk different story outside. Lucky lah that one just not big matter, a small matter. But why this is good real experience what we talking about information overload. Too much work you give to a person, you don't explain clearly to the party, he may even talk something else, which in this case is a funny story lah. But what if you do something really bad? It's very bad for us. This information overload happens in real life to me, not talking about the theory here. 11. Language characteristic. Many words phrases are imprecise, especially English word. One word can meaning 2 or 3, and depend on the sentences also. So it's not easy. Even bahasa Melayu also sometimes we have one word a few meaning, and depend which sentences are you to use. Or in all language have the same problem. So individual often use different meaning or interpretation of the same word and do not realize it. Sometimes I used to, before when I'm not learned law yet, belum pass my law. When I mix up with the lawyers, when he said to me, my brother, this one is fraud, So I listen, what fraud? Which fraud are you talking? Because I'm not a lawyer. When we thought we cheat people, in the legal term, they don't cheat. In the court, they don't word cheat. They use fraud, F-R-A-U-D, fraud. But that time I have not learned law. I don't know even word of what is meaning of fraud. So I thought when the lawyer talk, I thought it's fraud, kata, So these are the things. Sometimes word phrases also can become a barrier in communication. You have to be careful also. So all of these things need to understand and take. And then we have to call it gender differences. Then we have this male and female are often treated differently from childhood, and they tend to develop different perspective, attitude, life and communication. So gender, female and male, there's gender. Sometimes we need certain thing be done by male, but sometimes we need done by female better. Both can do the job, but who can do the job better? And you have to evaluate that in your business, which gender can do better work for you. This is another thing that you have to know, so that you can develop you can avoid those barriers in the communication. Sometimes you send a male going down there, the people don't like male to do that kind of thing, you get problem. But you send female and used to be supposed to be female do it better, you get things done easily. So this is another gender differences, so also part and parcel of the barriers in communication that you have to study and evaluate in your business. Sometimes people say should not be bias kind of thing. No, I can tell you in real world there's always bias here and there. Theory you can say no bias, nothing. It's all bullshitting. But we're talking about real business now. I'm not talking theory to you. You want to learn to me, you learn real business. No point talking theory. This theory is all rubbish. So in the real world, it's totally different. What we teach you now in this theory is just base tips of iceberg. Business down there is totally different. You don't think what we teach down here, you can implement down there. Nothing. This theory is only a base of, I call it tips of iceberg. In a real business, totally different. I've done that 40 over years. Nobody have more experience than me today, I can tell you. Other factors, time pressure, physical distraction, differing perception, noise, can all interfere with good communication. So it can be many other factors that can be barriers to communication. But those we teach you just now, they are the main one. This also so many things that you have to take care of. You don't know, there's so many other things that you have to know also. So in the barriers to communication, you can look in the internet. But this basic thing for you, small business, you want to start business, if this thing you can avoid, is good already. You big business, you have more things to know. Okay. How to overcome communication barriers? A thorough understanding of communication barrier is the basic requirement to find out measures to remove the eliminate or overcome. I will explain to you just now the barriers. So you need to understand to overcome the barriers. To need this overcome this is not an easy job. You need experience. We call it, we need the intuition. You have to learn through, intuition is another one we call it, we learn through the experience. Pengalaman is where the intuition comes about. So if you are new, what pengalaman you have, what experience you have. So sometimes this is where the difference between the experienced person and non-experienced person. And experienced person, they have a better intuition because their intuition they learn through the process. You are new, you have a very, small intuition, or your intuition is no good, so you can't make decision. That's why people will get people with much experience to do the work, because you know these people with much experience have much more intuition that can help them make a better decision. They can help them to overcome barrier in communication. You understand? So the rest are there already just taking receiver, all kind of thing, orientation, suitable language, good listening, all we already talked just now, but this is really the formatting. Do not make own conclusion. Manager or individual need to listen full story before making conclusion. That's it. If you need the manager to listen, but if he's not good listener, if he is a poor listening, because he didn't trusted the people who send in the message, how do you expect you to make conclusion? Avoid noise. I said tadi interruption lah in between. Like in my case, like MB tadi, Menteri Besar ni 9. Not easy to see him, but you don't not easy to see him. How you want to avoid to get to see him without the interruption of the noise, so that he can get the exact information that you want to pass. These all need skill. These all need things. I can't give you the answer now. I can show you how my situation. I still got months and I cannot get things done. But suddenly I got opportunity to see him and I go straight to the point. I get things done less than 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Yeah. Understand verbal and non-verbal communication. I already told you just now. Yeah. When you communicate, not only talk, your physical, how this lawyer of mine go to the court using nice dress, everything, got things done easier because maybe the judge pleased to see he's very pleasant. This is non-verbal communication. I can prove it to you. Yeah. Important, get things done for me. Create openness, rational and trust. Subordinate always have fear of feeling insecure. Share their problem. So manager should create openness. So communication within the lower end with the manager sometimes very difficult because they are afraid to talk to the manager. They are afraid the manager may not want to listen. They are afraid the manager may not want to decide, all kind of things. So you as a person must create openness. You meet. Like in my case, normally we go in my factory. I go down the line to see how the production. Talk to the worker who really work. Ask him the problem, not to listen through the supervisor. So that's how you create openness. You go to the end of the line of production and ask even at the line there, at the end there, what is the problem? That's how you create openness. You can't be sitting in a room, just wait for report from the supervisor, kind of thing. You may not even have the real thing. The supervisor may have filter things that they don't want to tell you. And the thing actually, one of the things happening down there, bad, that he didn't tell you, then the whole operation, the whole environment goes bad. So create openness is very important to avoid the barriers in the communication. One of them is to mix around, go down the line. Okay, that's for this week. For chapter 4, part A, it's a long chapter. So we'll continue next week for the part B. So thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.